Andrew, the PM saying sorry. He's certainly sorry that his government hasn't met the benchmarks that they had set themselves. It took a day, but he got there.
He was probably sorry about the reception he got from yesterday's press conference, and a vastly improved performance there, Kieran, from Scott Morrison. You could hear from him the prospect of him sitting down with his minders on the phone last night, figuring out how he can convey a more positive message and how he could escape some of the criticism he had out of yesterday's rather sombre message where he refused to apologise, including on FM radio, to an audience which doesn't engage into politics in the manner that our viewers do. So let's have a listen first to him saying, look, of course I'm sorry that we haven't got more vaccines out earlier.
I'm keen to ensure, as we have been over these many months, that we've been turning this around. I'm certainly sorry that we haven't been able to achieve the marks that we had hoped for at the beginning of this year. Of course I am. But what's more important is that we're totally focused on ensuring that we've been turning this around.
And Scott Morrison here really showing that he gets the urgency of vaccination, particularly in terms of the Sydney lockdown situation, by moving pharmacies up the chain. Many would argue this should have happened earlier. Why has it only been GPs and these state hubs, which are pretty much overwhelmed? The issue here will be around AstraZeneca and the fact that he's saying it's AstraZeneca going to all the pharmacies from Monday. Of course, we've had the odd death, about 1 in 1 million, but we've just had a couple of those. So there has been that view that you have to go through your GPs first. This short circuits that. I guess what Scott Morrison's saying here is it's an emergency situation with COVID in Australia, and that just has to be done. A lot more people will die of COVID than if everyone gets the AstraZeneca jabs. But what will be interesting to see out of this is the take-up. So he started on this just over a month ago, Scott Morrison, when he said after a national cabinet, if you're under 40, you can get the informed consent, you can get the AstraZeneca jab, despite what the Immunisation Board ATAGI says or recommending really against that. And we saw some take-up, but just a few thousand, not enough, not nearly enough to get to the level of vaccination that we want. But here he is talking about the pharmacies and talking about the fact that pharmacies, as well as doctors now, you'll be able to get informed consent there.
From next Monday, all community pharmacies across the country will be eligible to request participation in administering AstraZeneca vaccinations to the Australian population. We expect to see them commencing their vaccinations in mid-August.
Does this announcement does it mean that pharmacists will only be giving the AstraZeneca vaccine to people aged over 60, or can they now have that conversation with their pharmacists?
Pharmacists will be able to give vaccines right across the population because the AstraZeneca vaccine is approved by the TGA for people above the age of 18. But there is an informed consent process, and pharmacists will follow the same informed consent process as a GP would follow.